Yellow wheels and midnight secrets, the buggy surprise for Granny. In the gentle silvered glow of a 1960s television screen, long before the clamor of modern streaming and the hurried pace of contemporary comedy, there existed a particular magic that belonged almost exclusively to the early morning hours of the Beverly Hillbillies. It was a magic born not of elaborate sets or costly special effects, but of whispered confidences, creaking floorboards, and the soft scrape of paintbrushes against wooden spokes in the pre-dawn darkness of Beverly Hills. The composite script under consideration opens precisely in this hushed and hopeful atmosphere, and it is here in the opening moments of what would become one of the series' most affectionately remembered sequences that the enduring charm of the Clampett family first unfurls like a well-loved quilt. The scene begins with the simplest of questions spoken in the unmistakable cadence of Jed Clampett: "Is Granny still asleep?" The reply comes swiftly and with the quiet satisfaction of a mission accomplished: "I listened at her door. Not a peep." In these few words, the audience is immediately placed inside the intimate conspiracy of the Clampett household. There is no need for elaborate exposition. Buddy Ebsen's Jed, ever the patient and honorable patriarch, needs only to confirm that the formidable Daisy Moses remains safely in the arms of sleep before the real work of the morning can commence. The dialogue that follows is a masterclass in economical storytelling. "Buggies stashed out front. Come on. Before we paint them buggy wheels." The urgency is palpable, yet it is an urgency tempered by affection. These are not thieves or schemers in the conventional sense. They are a family attempting with the best of intentions to deliver a surprise that has lived in Granny's heart for decades. Jethro's plaintive interjection arrives almost at once, and it is pure Max Baer Jr. "Can we have some breakfast?" The line is delivered with the wide-eyed sincerity of a young man whose physical appetites are as large as his heart is simple. Jed's response is both firm and fond: "Well, there ain't gonna be time, boy. Granny'll be up in a minute. It's after 4 now." The specific mention of the hour is crucial. In the world of 1960s American television, 4 o'clock in the morning was an almost mythic time. It was the hour of dairy farmers and night shift workers, of bakers and milkmen, and of rural families who still measured their days by the cock's crow rather than the electric clock. By placing the Clampetts in this pre-dawn world, even after their move to Beverly Hills, the writers remind the audience that the family's essential nature has not been altered by sudden wealth. They remain people who rise early, work with their hands, and find joy in simple, tangible gifts. The instruction to Ellie Mae to keep watch is equally revealing. "You keep watch. Let us know the minute you hear Granny stirring." Donna Douglas's Ellie Mae, though not yet fully present in the dialogue, is already established as the family's sentinel of innocence and goodwill. Her role as lookout is both practical and symbolic. She stands between the secret and its discovery, between the loving intention and the potential chaos of Granny's awakening. When Jethro is told he must pee outside, the line lands with the earthy honesty that characterized so much of the series' humor. There is no coyness, no attempt to polish the rural edges for urban sensibilities. The Clampetts remain gloriously themselves. Jethro's subsequent complaint about his growling stomach provides one of the earliest and purest examples of the show's physical comedy. "Ain't you afraid all that growling and grumbling will wake Granny?" he asks, only to be met with Jed's deadpan inquiry, "What growling and grumbling?" The exchange is a miniature symphony of timing. Jethro's earnest concern, Jed's pretended ignorance, and the eventual admission that the young man has not eaten since a midnight snack all work together to establish the affectionate hierarchy of the household. Jed's gentle command to get your stomach for a little while is both practical advice and a quiet affirmation of the greater good. The reward, after all, will be the sight of Granny's face when she discovers the shiny black buggy with its newly painted yellow wheels. The explanation for the yellow wheels themselves is delivered with the quiet reverence of a man who understands the weight of a lifelong longing, something Granny's been wanting all her life. A nice shiny black buggy with yellow wheels. In these words, the script achieves something rare in situation comedy. It elevates a simple material object into a repository of memory and desire. The yellow wheels are not merely decorative. They are the final piece of a dream that has traveled with Granny from the hills of the Ozarks to the manicured streets of Beverly Hills. The fact that Mr. Drysdale has already provided the high-stepping horse only deepens the significance of the gift. The Clampetts are not merely adding a conveyance to their estate, they are completing a vision. When Granny herself appears, the carefully constructed secrecy begins to unravel with delicious inevitability. Her entrance is pure Irene Ryan, sharp, curious and already one step ahead. What in the blue blazes, she demands, and the audience knows at once that the surprise has been compromised. The subsequent dialogue reveals that Granny has known about the buggy since the previous evening, having been warned by Jethro not to open the front door. The irony is exquisite. The very attempt to protect the secret has ensured its discovery. Jed's rueful acknowledgement that he'd done everything I could to keep it a secret is met with Jethro's proud admission of his own role, and the resulting exchange is a perfect illustration of the family's inability to keep anything from one another for long. Love in the Clampett household is simply too large and too honest to accommodate sustained deception. The physical comedy of the painting sequence itself is left largely to the imagination of the viewer, yet the dialogue supplies all the necessary cues. The search for lanterns, the worry that raised voices will awaken the sleeping matriarch, the eventual decision to continue the work. While breakfast is prepared, all of these details create a vivid mental picture of two grown men crouched in the early morning light, carefully applying yellow paint to wooden wheels while trying not to laugh or argue too loudly. The humor is gentle, observational, and deeply rooted in character. There is no mean-spiritedness here, no attempt to mock the rural simplicity of the task. Instead, the scene celebrates the pleasure of making something with one's own hands and the joy of giving a gift that truly matters. Historically, the sequence resonates with the broader cultural moment of the mid-1960s. America was in the midst of profound social change, yet a significant portion of the television audience still held affection for stories that affirmed the value of family loyalty, hard work, and uncomplicated generosity. The Beverly Hillbillies succeeded in large measure because it allowed urban and suburban viewers to laugh at the Clampetts' cultural misunderstandings while simultaneously envying their warmth and moral clarity. The buggy painting scene is a pure distillation of that dual appeal. The audience smiles at the absurdity of painting buggy wheels at 4 a.m. in Beverly Hills, yet it also recognizes the essential decency of the impulse. Buddy Ebsen's performance as Jed is especially noteworthy in these opening moments. His voice carries the quiet authority of a man who has never needed to raise it to be obeyed. When he tells Jethro that the wait will be worth it, the line is delivered not as a command but as a shared understanding. Max Baer Jr. for his part invests Jethro with a boyish eagerness that never tips into pure buffoonery. The character's hunger, both literal and figurative, is always presented with affection. Even his more foolish observations are rooted in a genuine desire to participate in the family's happiness. The thematic richness of the scene should not be underestimated. At its heart, the secret painting of the yellow wheels is an act of love expressed through labor. In a world increasingly defined by the purchase of ready-made luxuries, the Clampetts insist on creating something with their own hands. The buggy is not bought fully formed from a catalogue, it is completed through effort and care. This insistence on the dignity of work is one of the series' quietest and most consistent values. Wealth has not made the Clampetts idle. It has simply given them the means to turn their labor toward the happiness of those they love. As the scene progresses and Granny's knowledge of the secret is fully revealed, the comedy shifts from anticipation to affectionate exasperation. Jed's realization that his careful plans have been undermined by his own family's inability to keep quiet is played with the mild resignation of a man who has long since accepted that privacy is a luxury the Clampetts cannot afford. The resulting laughter is not at the characters' expense but with them. The audience is invited to recognize the familiar chaos of family life and to find comfort in its predictability. The decision to continue painting even after the secret is out is itself a small masterpiece of character logic. Breakfast can wait a little longer, the wheels must be finished. The gift must be completed. In this moment the script affirms that the true purpose of the endeavor was never the surprise itself but the act of giving. Granny's face will still light up when she sees the finished buggy. The yellow wheels will still gleam in the morning sun. The love that motivated the secrecy remains intact even after the secrecy has failed. In the larger context of the series, this opening sequence serves as a perfect overture. It introduces the central tensions of culture clash and familial devotion that will animate the subsequent adventures with Lady Belle, the buggy race, the cat burglar and beyond. Yet it also stands alone as a complete and satisfying piece of storytelling. In the space of a few pages of dialogue, the writers establish character conflict theme and tone with an economy that modern television might do well to study. The enduring appeal of these moments lies in their refusal to condescend. The Clampetts are never presented as objects of ridicule. Their speech patterns, their priorities and their methods may differ from those of their Beverly Hills neighbors, but their hearts are pure and their intentions are good. When Jed and Jethro paint the yellow wheels in the early morning dark, they are engaged in an act of pure generosity. The audience is invited not merely to laugh but to admire. As the first light of dawn begins to touch the edges of the Clampett estate, the yellow paint still wet on the wooden spokes, the stage is set for all the comic complications that will follow. Yet for a few precious moments the world is quiet, the secret is shared, and the simple pleasure of making something beautiful for someone beloved is allowed to shine. In that quiet, the true magic of the Beverly Hillbillies reveals itself once more. The ability to find profound humanity in the most ordinary of acts, and to remind a changing nation that some values remain worth rising early to protect.